And we are live.
Awesome.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LSND Live, our community conversations segment that we do on Monday mornings, talking to our friends and colleagues around North Dakota about different community programs, education, trainings, those kinds of things that are out there. And today I get the pleasure of speaking with Caleb Eilts from Green Dot Greater Grand Forks. And Caleb, welcome to LSND Live. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me to come on and talk about the program that I'm fortunate
Very,
enough to work on.
very good. Tell us about Green Dot and about your role at Green Dot and what you all do.
Of course. Well, so I'll start by saying that you said my name. My name is Caleb Eilts. I actually work as the prevention and education specialist here at the Community Violence Intervention Center. And one of the
Mhm.
big main focuses of that role is the Green Dot Greater Grand Forks program. It's a bystander intervention program that does presentations, events, runs a social media throughout the community to teach people about bystander intervention. So,
Okay.
how if they see situations of interpersonal violence that may relate to child abuse, assault, dating, or domestic violence, how they might be able to intervene in that situation and things they can do sort of every day to create a culture of against violence here in the Grand Forks community.
And is Green Dot, which is very important. I think many of us don't know how to respond. I think that freeze um, reaction sometimes we don't know how to respond. I think that's great. Is Green Dot part of C? Is it a program that was developed by CVAC? How did Green Dot come about?
So Green Dot is actually a national program through
Okay.
a company called Altruistic, and it actually started up in Alaska, I believe, back
Mm.
in 2012. They were implementing a program in high schools and across the state, and they saw huge success with that, so they wanted to expand that into the rest of the country. I believe now
Okay.
there are programs, Grand Forks, there's programs way down in Kentucky, still in Alaska. So they're spread out quite a bit throughout the country.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. And then CVIC has is you're the uh, I think I saw on the website you were the co-coordinator of the project. Do you
That's
all kind of
correct.
like take it under your wing and you're the one distributing it out into the community?
Yep. So CVIC, through a partnership with Altru Hospital System
Yep.
here in Grand Forks, actually did it through a collaboration. So we have three total Green Dot co-coordinators. We have myself, um, my partner Janie here at CVIC, and then at Altru we have Kareen as
Okay.
well. So
That's really cool. I like to see the collaboration between organizations and just the different ways that we all can work together to figure things to make the community better, I guess is how I look at it. So when you say, I think bystander intervention may be something that people don't realize what that actually looks like. Do you have a few examples or stories you could say, tell us
of
about that
of course,
would
yeah.
illustrate that? Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
use examples a lot in our curriculum when we're doing
Yeah.
presentations. So some examples that we usually share are, let's say you're downtown. Maybe you're downtown, whether you're a college student enjoying the nightlife or you're a professional who's going out with another other group of professionals, and you see maybe someone screaming at their partner, yelling at them, emotional abuse there, potentially escalating into something worse. The bystander intervention there would be how do you go up there and do something about it? Or how can you do something to stop that situation from happening? And we
Mhm.
actually have three main strategies that we talk about. They are the 3Ds.
Okay.
Those are our reactive green dots. They're the ways you can react to these situations. And those would be going up there directly, getting involved yourself. Although we've talked about that a little bit, people aren't as comfortable doing that. So that's where the other options
Mhm.
come in. You also have a delegate option. You can either ask a friend who's more comfortable confronting situations like that. You can talk to a manager, or if there's a bartender or bouncer nearby that you can say, hey, can you go check on that situation for me? That would be really, really good. Or
Hmm.
we have our final one, which is distract, which is you don't have to confront the situation yourself. You could just go up there and pretend like you're asking a different question, you know.
Right.
Excuse me, do you know the specials that they're having here tonight? Or I'm looking for directions to this location. Can you help me find my way there? Or it can even be something like you had a water in your hand and you dropped that water on the floor. Now everyone turns and looks at you, and maybe that diffuses that argument. So
Very interesting. I like that. I do agree with you. Sometimes people may not want to be direct, but those other two options are very valuable ways of getting through a situation and being a good bystander. I like that. What do you see as your most requested service or your most needed service that Green Dot offers? Is it the trainings? Is it something like that?
it would primarily be the trainings. That's what we usually outreach to businesses and organizations for. We offer a 45 to 1 hour training that is about kind of the general overview of Green Dot. So there's some curriculum in there that talks about the three different distinct parts of Green Dot, which are addressing your barriers to intervening, the reactive green dots or the 3Ds, and then our proactive methods, proactive green dots for getting involved. That's kind of more general. It has some discussion points. It's got some polling questions that we ask our audiences, and then there is a longer 3 hour training that we
Okay.
provide to businesses as well that kind of goes way more in depth, creates a lot more
Mhm.
practice opportunities, has a lot more activities and discussions built into it, as well as goes
Okay.
more in depth into each of the topics that I've mentioned.
That's really cool. Especially, I do like the overview, kind of just putting it out there because most people probably haven't thought about it, and having that overview helps. Do companies reach out to you to request this? You're out doing outreach. I'm sure they see you places, but how do companies, are they able to request this from you?
It's kind of a blend
Hmm.
here and there. Sometimes we work with existing partnerships that we've been working with already. So Green Dot has what's called a Green Dot core team here in Grand
Okay.
Forks, and that's with business leaders from outside of CVIC. It includes members from like different banking locations, healthcare, hospitality throughout the community, and they are instrumental in helping us reach out to these other groups. So a lot of it is
Okay.
outreach, a lot of it is letting people know about us and then asking them, would you be interested in either an overview or a training from us? Um, because our trainings can be a little more I don't want to say lightweight, but
Hmm.
if they're looking at intense trainings or if they're looking at some type of training for their staff, a lot of times we're a great safe option to come in. We've got some heavy material. We talk about some heavy stuff like the interpersonal violence, but then we still have the fun metaphor of the green dot and the red dots. So
Hmm.
um, it can be a little bit of a lighter training that businesses can bring. And then every once in a while, yeah, we do have businesses reach out and request trainings from us, and that's always very exciting.
And you said the Greater Grand Forks. How far out what's your area that you're typically looking at?
Yeah, so the Greater Grand Forks area is sort of, we kind of define it as Grand Forks County.
Okay.
So not just the Grand Forks town, but also places like Emerado, Thompson.
Mhm.
Um, we've gone to East Grand Forks before as well, so we want to include
Okay.
that as well as part of our locations.
There was something when I was looking at the website for Green Dot that you can, it looked like someone can choose to put a green dot, or there were like different green dots on the map. What does the green dots on the map mean?
So that brings us into our the proactive methods or
Mm.
proactive green dots that I had
Mhm.
mentioned. So a lot of times when we present to these groups and we talk about reactive green dots, things you can do when you see a situation that's happening, um, a lot of times people won't see those right away after a training. They may see one here or there weeks, if not months after, and they may have
Mhm.
already forgotten about the training or they may have already or they may not even recognize it necessarily as a violent situation. So we want to continue sort of that green dot mentality going forward. And the proactive green dots are essentially things they can do every day. So
Hmm.
a proactive green dot is pretty much any way that you can show that you do not tolerate violence in your space, whether that's sharing green dot posts or sharing a post from any sort of anti-violence center on social media. Anyone who sees that will then know you are not someone who supports violence, and it could spread that. They might then share it. And now you've got a
Okay.
community culture that's slowly building against violence. It can also be a crisis intervention hotline up in your office. So anyone who visits your office can see, oh, they don't support violence in this space, and maybe that's something I should be doing too. So whenever anyone does something like that, they can go on our website and they can click submit a green dot if they either intervened in a situation or if they did something like that. Put up a sign, shared something on social media, and they can choose to put a location if they would like, and it appears on our map.
That's cool. It's kind of like this the social proof, I guess, sometimes of things and how things spread these days with um, between social media and all the other ways that we get information. So that's very cool. Are there any other, besides Crew, and are there any other organizations that you work really closely with? Is there anything any programs coming up that you want to mention? Any trainings that are open to the public?
Yes, well, you may see it in our logo, but Gate City Bank is on our logo. They're a huge
Okay,
partner of ours. They provide a lot of funding for us, as well as in terms of our booth registrations, social media, things of that nature. Their support is immense, massive. It really helps us a lot. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the great work that we do. So,
very
um,
cool.
we also do a lot of work. I mean, we've worked with Legal Services North Dakota.
Mhm.
We've worked with job services as well. So we've got a lot of great partnerships throughout the community, and we look forward to building even more and working with those partners.
And so I agree. I am thrilled with what you all do, and it's always fun to kind of figure out where the next level of collaboration starts sometimes because you can do one or two events, but then it starts building, and the more people you get involved, the more awareness there is out there. That's really cool. Um, are there, I'm trying to think of any, summertime seems to be event season, and I feel like we're always at all kinds of outreach and events and booths and everywhere. Is there anything coming up in the next few weeks that you all are going to be at with a booth or anything like that?
Well, there's nothing Green Dot's doing in the next few weeks in terms of events or booths. We usually host about two major events per year.
Okay.
Um, and what that's looked like recently is we have the Green Dot spot, we call it, which is our Green Dot table at the downtown street fair.
Okay. Cool.
So we have a bunch of items we give away. This year we're looking to have a big red dot that people can come and they can write down their proactive green dot ideas and stamp them to that dot so we can slowly fill that up. And we're really excited about that. This is the first time we're doing that this year.
That's
And
cool.
we'll be giving away a lot of great green dot merchandise that people can then wear around the community, and then green dot merchandise they wear when they wear them is a proactive green dot because you're spreading that message. So it kind of all
That makes
continues.
sense.
It's a great cycle. And then the last couple years, we've been a part of the Gate City Bank was kind enough to allow us to be part of their sponsored hockey night at the Ralph Engelstad Arena. So
Yeah.
we were able to attend, share information about Green Dot with all the hockey fans, um, and then also even have a Green Dot overview presented on the Jumbotron. So
Okay,
those are
cool.
our two big events going on. Usually those end up being in the fall or winter months.
Hmm.
But if anyone ever requests for us to have a table somewhere or be a part of any of their events, we're always happy to be there.
You'll show up wherever you're needed.
Absolutely.
Sounds like us. We tend to just show up as wherever we get asked, we say yes. Um, Are there any like misconceptions about what green dot is? I always try to put out some of the myths and misconceptions too, just because getting those addressed sometimes can be an issue. Is there anything out there about misconceptions about green dot?
Well, yeah, I feel like maybe people hear green dot and they get confused. They go, "What's why the dots? You know, why the red dots? Why the green dots?" And we sort of use it as a metaphor. The program did originate in a high school, so we use it as a metaphor to kind of make the education a little more fun, more seeable on a graphic or on a map. When you do a good positive thing, when you either intervene in a situation or you do something to show you're against violence, that puts a green dot on the map. And those violent situations, those would be red dots when they happen. So it's kind of to outnumber all of the red dots on our community map with green dots. So that's the metaphor we choose to use, and we find it very effective. We think it's helpful, and it's also fun. My favorite color is green, so it works out pretty great. Another thing is there's a green dot bank, and I just
Oh
want to.
yeah,
It's important to
I didn't
note
even think of
we're
that.
not the bank.
Okay.
That's one misconception I thought I would I would let everyone
I didn't
know.
even think of that, but when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, I have seen like ads for that before, so that's good to put out there. Okay,
Well,
cool.
when I first started in this role, which was about 2 years ago, 2.5 now, um, I used to receive phone calls every now and then from people
Mm.
asking about their banking information.
Like, no, we're not that green dot.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, well, that's good to know. Anything else you want to share with the LSND live audience about Green Dot or anything like that?
Yeah, so I guess Green Dot has a social media. So we have our own independent social media separate from the Community Violence Intervention
Okay,
Center. I can send it to you to put in the description, but I can also say it
sure.
out loud. It's Green Dot GGF on both Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
And every other month, we do a donut giveaway. So not only is there helpful
Ooh.
information about Green Dot and the 3Ds and things that we're doing and what we're up to, but there's also a bi-monthly donut giveaway called our Donuts for Green Dot. It used to be a month-long event, but we've separated it now into every other month where we host a giveaway. People can join in there, they can tag their friends, they can let their friends know about what's going on, more proactive Green Dots.
Mhm.
And then once they win, they get to pick a local business to receive a box of donuts. And then they receive a box of donuts themselves as well, which gives us a further
It's really
opportunity
cool.
to sort of outreach to those businesses as well and let them know about us. And then
Very cool.
we also do a big giveaway around December, around the holidays, called our 12 Days of Green Dot. That is 12 days throughout the month, either in December or January, where we are giving away big baskets of
Mhm.
prizes for people who interact with our social media, comment down below on the posts. And we usually have fun questions like if you saw a situation, how might you use the 3Ds to intervene in this? So people can not only tag their friends, but they can share their thoughts on those and engage with our curriculum a little bit online.
Well, that's really cool. I will definitely share those in the notes and I also add it to the LSND social media when we see it out there. So that's very cool.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Well, I really appreciate your time today. And I actually didn't know much about Green Dot, and I was thrilled that we got a chance to talk to you. So thank you very much, Caleb.
Of course. Well, thank you for having me. I love talking about Green Dot if you couldn't tell.
It's always good. Very good. Okay. Well, I hope to be in touch and let's share all of the Green Dot Greater Grand Forks information whenever you see it on social media. So thanks, everyone. Have a great Monday.